I don't even know how much of my family actually watches my videos. This is not the one though.
Oh God, okay.
I can't believe I'm gonna say this on the internet. I just felt fucking embarrassed. Like I was like, how the did you let somebody cheat on you? Listen, okay, we listen, we don't judge. The first time I ever did anything sexual ever, how to not be awkward doing it for the first time. When was the last time you hooked up with someone? Is it hard after a breakup? Oh my god, is this the first video you guys are seeing? Oh wait, never mind. I was gonna say, is this the first video you guys are seeing my new ear piercings? But if you watch my Disneyland vlog that I just posted, then you would have already seen them. But if you were fake and you didn't watch that video, then I pierced my ears. I also got a new mic. Big things happening over here. So today, let's just get comfortable for this video because it's gonna be a very different video from anything I've ever done. I've seen a lot of other people do this video, and I honestly never thought that I would do it just because it kind of makes me uncomfortable, the idea of talking about these things. But I think it'll be a good video for hopefully you guys and also me. I'm sure you've already read the title and the thumbnail and everything. Today we're gonna be doing essentially just a teenager talk. I asked you guys on my Instagram story to submit any questions that maybe are a little bit uncomfortable for you. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm 19 years old. I'm turning 20 in August, which is very crazy. So I'm very young. And I feel like growing up, there's a lot of things. It's just awkward. It really is. And there's so many things that I feel like I wish I knew when I was younger. And I'm also aware that not everybody has a parent or an adult or an older brother or sister to be able to kind of talk about super, honestly, just personal and really awkward situations and questions and life events. I personally love watching these videos. I think it's super cool to get closer with your audience, but also to create a safe space for anybody to talk about these things. I will say most of the time when people do these videos, I'm not trying to take credit or act like I'm the first person to do this because I honestly probably am not, but I have yet to see somebody do this video that is a guy. Most of the time I see people do these videos, it's like girl, TMI, teen talk, or just like girl talk, which is totally fine. And I love that. And I'm glad that that is a space on the internet for people, but I've yet to see someone who's a guy do this. And also, spoiler alert, hey, sure you couldn't tell, I'm a guy who's gay, and so I feel like I have a lot of different life experiences and also perspectives and just things that I wish that I knew when I was younger. I think this could be really cool to become a series on my channel, but if it does end up becoming a series, then you definitely need to follow me on Instagram, because if I do end up doing a video like this in the future, I always go to my Instagram stories to ask you guys for questions. So disclaimer, we're gonna get really real and really personal in this video. I'm no stranger to getting personal on the internet. There are so many things that we're gonna be talking about in this video. I know I'm going to get really uncomfortable, but I don't want you guys to get uncomfortable. I want more than anything for this video to create a safe space, especially in the comment section, for us to continue these conversations and for you guys to also share, if you're comfortable, share your experiences. I don't even know how much of my family actually watches my videos. This is not the one though, so I'm going to respectfully ask that if you're in my family, don't watch this video. So yeah, without further ado, let's have a very uncomfortable conversation, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Also, just for the privacy of you guys, I'm not gonna be showing any of the usernames of the people who ask these questions, because some of these are extremely personal, and everything in this video and anything I do forward with these videos is gonna be completely anonymous. But let's just get into it. Okay, I think this one is a perfect way to start off this video. How was it coming out? For me, it was like hell. My dad still doesn't believe me. So I've actually never talked about my coming out experience. I've thought about doing a video on it, but I just don't really have that much to say about it. I'm so incredibly thankful that I have a family that's been nothing but supportive, and it's really affected nothing. Coming out was kind of weird for me though, because I felt like everyone knew before I did, or at least they had accepted it before I did. And I mean that in like every aspect. I mean that as kids at school, my family, my friends, like I felt like everyone knew that I was gay before I did. That's a whole other thing we can talk about, and how that honestly kind of psychologically messed with me for a while. In terms of my family, I'm so grateful that I even had a family that was supportive and didn't really care, because I'm fully aware that that's not the case for a lot of people. I know this is probably going to be hard to hear, but the older you get, I think the more you start to realize that absolutely nobody else's opinion matters but your own. Now, I'm not saying that that means that other people's opinions aren't going to affect you, especially with like family members. Like it's going to be their words are going to hold a lot of weight, and their opinion is going to hold a lot of weight. With this question specifically, this person's dad not believing them, I am so sorry that that's happening. It's hard for me to wrap my head around, because to me, it's like I can't imagine not loving your own kid just because of who they want to date. Like it's something that's so mind-boggling to me and so foreign to me. I don't know. It's really hard to talk about. What I would suggest to you is to just surround yourself with people that love you for who you are. I think that that's honestly just the best thing you can do. I think one of the worst feelings is not going to feel supported by your parents, but then also not being supported in any other aspect of your life. Obviously, it's going to be hard, and I am so apologetic, and I feel so bad. I wish I could like take you under my wing and be your parent, but I think your experience could be less painful. It's obviously still going to be painful, and I'm not trying to take that away, but I think your experience could be way less painful if you have a really strong and a very big support system. Hopefully you'll be able to find a better balance instead of just having this super painful thing, because that painful thing is still going to be there, but if you have other things that make you feel better, it'll become a little more manageable. And I do hope that over time, as you grow older and as you get into relationships with people, that your dad will be able to come around to it. So yeah, I don't know. I feel so bad. This is such a touchy subject, and I'm not the best person to give advice on this with. I don't know. I love you and I support you. What were your symptoms of BPD? I love you so much. I love you too. Thank you so much. Because I actually don't think I've talked about this in like so long. But if you happen to be a new viewer and you didn't already know, I do have borderline personality disorder, BPD. I will say, me and my therapist have actually been talking about this recently. I actually don't think I have BPD that much anymore. I know, it's crazy because I kind of just accepted the fact that that was something I was gonna have to live with, and it was gonna be part of my day-to-day life. And don't get me wrong, still have aspects of it, but it's just so much better than it used to be, and I'm so unbelievably thankful for that. Sorry, I have so many video ideas. If anybody's interested in like a full in-depth BPD video and like how I got diagnosed and what that looked like for me and how I dealt with it, and honestly how I got better and I got to a point where I don't really even feel like I have it that much anymore. In terms of my symptoms for BPD, the main thing that I feel like I just struggled with was the mood switches and the like really, really bad depression. I always felt like I was going crazy because I couldn't understand why my emotions would go from 0 to 100 so fast. Like, I swear to God, I would literally be perfectly fine one minute and then I would literally stub my toe or something, and I would I'm not saying this to be like funny. I'm like, this is genuinely serious. I would literally like stub my toe and I would actually want to myself, and that would ruin my entire day. Which I know that just sounds like an unstable person, and to be fair, I really was unstable, but it was always just stuff like that where I couldn't wrap my head around why I was so sensitive. I would say that was probably like the biggest struggle of having BPD. I definitely struggled with some of the other kind of common symptoms of having BPD, like impulsivity was something that I struggled with a lot. The sensitivity that comes with having BPD is honestly something that still I struggle with, but I'm also just like a really sensitive person. But yeah, I think those were kind of the main things I struggled with having BPD. Boyfriend wants to do it with me, but I genuinely really don't want to. He's done it and I haven't, and I don't really want to do it. He threatened to break up, so I don't really know what to do. This one breaks my heart a little bit because you should never be in a relationship with somebody that's forcing you to have sex. In literally any case, but especially if you've never done it before. Is something that is so, this is just my opinion, but it's something that's so insanely personal, and to me it's something that's very, very special. It's something that it's a very, very intimate moment between two people, and not that it needs to be this like crazy thing, but I do think it's at least it can be a very special moment between two people, and honestly it's like a really beautiful thing to me. I don't know if I'm like making something out of nothing here. In response to this, all I'm gonna say is, number one, if you are with someone that is trying to force you to have sex, then please get out of that relationship. That is not your person. No one should be treating you that way. And in terms of like your first time in doing that and whatnot, you guys, if you take anything away from this video, please do not have sex if you don't want to. Trust me, there is no worse feeling than giving into somebody and finally having sex with them and then realizing after, or honestly, you probably even know beforehand. There's no worse feeling than after having sex and realizing I didn't actually want to do that and I don't know why I did that. I totally understand that in this person's situation that you don't want to break up with this person because I'm sure you love them, I'm sure you care for them and appreciate them, but trust me when I say you're gonna look back on this and you're going to regret it if you do happen to give into it. I'm so sorry that this is a situation that you're having to go through, but I really, really strongly recommend just breaking up with this person, because I promise that there is somebody out there that not only will make you feel comfortable when it comes to the time that you actually do want to have, but also there's just better people out there. There really is, and I promise you, there are so many better people out there. You'll find them in no time. I pinky promise. If it ends up not being true, you can break my pinky. I swear to God, you can do it. What can I do when I like a guy, but I don't know what I want with him? Oh God, okay. I don't actually know that I've ever been, well, I was gonna say, I don't know if I've ever been in this scenario, but I don't even know how to go about this question. I think instinctually, the first thing I want to say is let's try to figure this out quick, because I don't want you to be leading someone on or leading someone astray. But I do see that you're probably struggling with trying to figure that out. So let's try to talk this out, okay? So I think the main thing is, what do you want in your future? Just baseline. Do you want to date? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? I know you're probably young and that's totally fine, but genuinely think, because for me, like when I date someone, I don't just date, like I'm thinking long term. I'm trying to like, I don't want to date somebody that I won't end up wanting to marry, because to me that's just a waste of time, and why would I date somebody and waste my time like that? But I realize that not everybody thinks that way, and some people just want to date because they're young and they can, and they're not even thinking about the future. So if you're thinking about the future, keep that in mind. Is this somebody that you would actually want to spend the rest of your life with? In my personal opinion, if the answer is yes, stick with the person. You got a good person. And if you don't see yourself with this person or even wanting to be with this person long term, then I don't think they're the one for you. I don't know. I guess the only way to like really figure out what you want with somebody is just to try to pursue it and see what happens. And if both parties are like willing to do so, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that, even if it doesn't end up the best. I don't know. Just be safe and protect your own emotions and protect your own peace, obviously, but also be aware that you're handling someone else's emotions. And, you know, like I said, don't lead somebody on and trick somebody and make them think that they're able to get something that you know deep down that they won't be able to. Ooh, okay, we're gonna get really personal now. Did you get dizzy the first time you masturbated? No, I don't think that that's something that happens. And I think, did you actually get dizzy, or was it just like the feeling was super overwhelming? Because I think, I don't know. All I'm gonna say, the first time I masturbated, let's just say I didn't. I can't believe I'm gonna say this on the internet. I'm so uncomfortable. The first time I masturbated, I wasn't even trying to do so. I wasn't even trying to. I'm not going to go into detail because I literally, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I wasn't even trying to. And then, as I'm sure you can realize, when it did end up happening, I was so fucking confused. I was like, what the f? I literally thought that like my body just broke, or I don't know. I'm sure you're wondering how you do it without even trying to. And honestly, I don't want to talk about it. No, I didn't get dizzy the first time I did. I don't know if that's a thing. Did y'all get dizzy when you did it for the first time? I don't know. I'm curious if you actually got dizzy, or if the sensation of just feeling that for the first time kind of just felt like being dizzy. Because I could maybe understand that. I think obviously the first time you do it, it's super like, what the f just happened? Like, I don't understand what my body just did. So that might be it. Okay, this person said something really sweet. They just said, nothing to say other than you're doing something really good and sweet with your platform. I appreciate that so much. Like I said, I would like for maybe this to become a series on my channel. I don't know. We'll see if you guys actually even end up liking this video, but this was very sweet and I appreciate that so much. Oh God, okay. I know the past is the past and we hate you know who, but was it hard telling your family about him? Okay, God. Okay. Every time I talk about him, I feel like I'm gonna get a really strongly worded text message from him. So I have not yet, but honestly probably will in the future. But to answer your question, yes, it was very hard. For anyone who doesn't know what this person is referencing, I was dating someone last year. We moved in together and then I found out he was cheating on me. So that was cool. It was hard to tell my family, I'm gonna be honest, but it was only hard because I just felt fucking embarrassed. Like I was like, how the did you let somebody cheat on you? Nobody thinks they're gonna get cheated on for the most part, but I really never thought that I would be the person to let. And again, I'm not saying this to be like, if you have been cheated on, like you're less than or you're a bad person, because that's not what I'm saying at all. That's not what I'm saying. But I just never thought that I would be someone to get cheated on. I thought that the person that I was with, which like looking back, like you idiot. I thought the person I was with was very trustworthy. He wasn't, and that's very clear now. And I look back at like so many situations and I'm like, dude, he probably was cheating on you like the whole relationship. Yeah, but it was hard to tell my family. I still haven't really talked about it much with anybody. It was also hard though too, because when all that was going down, my dad was in the hospital. It didn't feel appropriate for me to talk about it with anybody. My entire family, rightfully so, was very concerned with my dad, as was I. But I just felt like it just didn't feel like the right thing to talk about because there were bigger things going on. I remember when I flew to Utah to go visit my dad in the hospital and like make sure he was doing okay, I told my uncle about everything that happened with me and my ex, and I was just so embarrassed. Again, I was like saying it out loud was so degrading for me, and I just felt like getting cheated on is absolutely 1,000% the other person's problem. It has nothing to do with you, but I just felt so degraded, and I was like, it just felt embarrassing. Is it normal to satisfy yourself? Absolutely. It's so normal, and I don't think there's anything wrong with like keeping private moments to yourself and not feeling the need to like talk about it with a bunch of people, but I hate so much that you're almost made to feel bad if you have sex or like it's totally normal, and it's also such an awkward experience to go through for the first couple times that we don't need to make it more awkward by shaming people for doing it. If anything, studies show that both of those are actually beneficial for you and your health. So I don't know why this is such a weird thing. Like everybody does it. Not everybody does it, but like 90% of people do it. And if you don't do it, cool. And if you do it, awesome. Totally normal. How do you deal with big changes in your life? I think this is a great question because I've experienced so much change in the last couple months. For me personally, and I understand that not everybody has this mentality or even wants to have this mentality, but from my personal experience, I will say I do live my life with the everything happens for a reason mentality, and it really does make my life so much easier. I totally understand, and I'm totally aware because I've been there. I understand that when you're like really going through it, that hearing everything happens for a reason is like the last thing you want to hear, because I think it can feel degrading, and I think it can feel like, well, you deserve to be going through this horrible thing because everything happens for a reason. I totally get that, and when I was going through it, that was like anybody who said everything happens for a reason, I wanted to like sock in the nose because I'd be like, you, like I don't deserve to be going through this. But I think as I've gotten older and I'm able to look back at certain situations and kind of just see them for what they are and see that they did actually get me to where I am now, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And honestly, I do kind of suggest that you guys live your life that way as well. I totally understand and get that not everybody wants to, and it seems like it's obviously not like a foolproof answer to making everything in your life making sense, but it really does make me feel so much better because I can look at the situations that I'm going through, despite how hard they may be, and realize like, because you can never really see it in the moment when you're going through something hard, like it's nearly impossible to see or even try to wrap your head around like how the is this gonna get me to like a good point in my life? Like this doesn't make sense. This is only causing me pain. But I promise you that everything will make sense and everything will click and all the puzzle pieces will fall into place. I guess I'll share a little personal experience of mine that I've experienced the past couple months. I was so terrified, horrified. Really, I was horrified to move. I touched on this a little bit earlier. I was living with my at the time boyfriend. I was living like 7 hours away from where I currently am. And the idea of having to move back home was so terrifying to me. I honestly think deep down that was honestly part of the reason that I stuck in that relationship longer than I did, because I honestly did like living in Santa Cruz. It was fun. It was nice. It was a nice change for me. And now looking back, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Truly been the best thing. Obviously, I'm not totally happy and I don't love specifically like the area that I live in. It's not my favorite thing, but I mean, look at my room. Like I love my room, and I've never in my entire life had a room that actually made me feel happy, if I'm being honest. And also because of my room, I've been making more YouTube videos than I think I ever have in my entire life. And that makes me so happy because if you know me, you know, like I just love YouTube. It's my favorite thing in the world. And the fact that I've been creating more content this year than honestly probably the last couple years combined makes me so happy, and I feel so creatively fulfilled. I feel so satisfied, and I feel so excited and eager to see where my future goes. And literally none of this would have happened had I not moved and had I not broken up with my boyfriend. Everything happens for a reason. I know it's hard to believe and it's hard to see in the moment, so you can use me as a testament to see that everything really does happen for a reason. Do you have any advice on how to handle going no contact with a parent? I will say, before I even talk about this, I'm gonna keep my personal experience about this pretty limited just because I've never really talked about it and I don't really want to talk about it. I think it's because it's like an ongoing thing that I'm still going through. It's a really touchy subject for me, and I just want to say that because I don't know, I feel like you can literally feel the energy switch when I start talking about this. Yes, I do have advice because I don't really keep in contact with my birth mom. It's been over 10 years since I've actually seen her in person. Been one of the most difficult things that I've had to continuously deal with in my life. Obviously, I don't know your situation, but I think the number one thing that I would just say to people is that you do not, especially for parents, like I guess I'll just say that my mom is an alcoholic. One of the hardest things for me to, I guess, realize, but it's also been like one of the most important things that I've learned, is you do not owe them anything. Yes, they're the person that gave you life. Yes, they're their parents. Obviously, I don't know if this is like your mom or your dad you're talking about, but you don't owe them anything at all. This is something that I really had to learn and was really difficult for me because I just felt so bad. Obviously, I don't like not talking to the person that gave me life, and I know this person has so much love for me, but when this person has hurt you so much, you don't owe them a phone call, you don't owe them a text message. They've made bad decisions, and unfortunately, this is just kind of the consequence of that. It's never your fault. It's hard to realize that. Trust me, I'm aware it's very easy to make it feel like it's your fault and your parents are acting this way because of you, but that's literally never the case. I'm very thankful to still have a relationship with my dad at least, but you are perfectly capable of living your life, even if that means never speaking to a single person in your family again. I'm a firm believer that family is not who you're actually related to. This is very ironic for me to say, actually, but I'm a firm believer in the fact that family is not who you're related to, but it's just the people who are actually there for you. And the cool thing about that is you're able to build your own family. Now, obviously, I'm not even talking about like have your own kids and make your own family in that way. Like your friends can become your family, and those can be the people that you spend holidays with. I know holidays are really difficult when you have restraints on your family. I've literally spent Easter and Christmas with my best friend Sabrina's family because I just don't have the best relationship with a lot of my family. And like that was the only family I needed. Someone said TMI on your first relationship. Oh God. Okay, so my first relationship was when okay, here's the thing. I don't even really count this relationship. Like, I don't know if it's just like out of embarrassment, but I don't even really like to talk about it. I also feel weird talking about this because like I don't want to out the person necessarily and like share our personal business of whatever happened. I don't know if I should be talking about it. I think it's fine. It's my life. I can talk, whatever. It's my life. I can talk about this. This is my platform. I can talk about whatever the fuck I want. My first relationship was in fact the person that I did everything with for the first time. So like my first kiss, first time literally doing anything. Oh my God, I'm gonna get like a cease and desist letter from this dude. I think I was 15, about to turn 16. And I guess a TMI, listen, okay, we listen, we don't judge. The first time I ever did anything sexual ever was on the roof of a parking garage. It was on the roof of a parking garage, and I don't have anything more to say about that. How to get back into dating after a long-term relationship. Great question. No, yeah, this is a good question, but I don't actually know how to answer this because I have just gotten out of my first long-term relationship. In my opinion, the most important thing after a breakup is just trying to figure out what you need as a person. Obviously, people deal with breakups differently. Some people feel the need to like immediately get back into another relationship. Some people just need to go hook up with people, and other people don't want anything to do with guys or girls or whoever you're into, literally at all. They just want to be completely alone. And I think all three of those are fine. I just think it's a trial and error of seeing like, maybe it's a trial and error for me, and I'm more speaking for me because like this is the first big breakup I've ever had, so I'm trying to figure out what I actually need and what I want and what that exactly consists of. In terms of how to actually get back into dating, I think the cool thing about actually going through a breakup is you are now so much more knowledgeable on what you need to do moving forward. If I'm going to give my ex credit for anything, it's that I now know that whoever I'm with in the future cannot act like him. So thank you for that. I don't know. I'm grateful for the experience of my last relationship because moving forward, I know exactly what I want. Not exactly, but I know more so of what I want now. And I also won't tolerate any like stupid bullshit that my ex did. Like, I don't know. I think just putting yourself out there in general, whether that's on dating apps or in person, like you're completely free now. You are free to do whatever you want. Obviously be smart about it. Yes. But I do think getting out of your comfort zone is probably, if you want to. When I'm talking about like getting out of your comfort zone, I mean like approaching different ways of meeting people or talking to people. But if you're not interested in meeting or talking to people, like that's absolutely totally fine. The person who asked this question, I know their situation, but I think this is a relatable feeling for a lot of people, and I don't know all of your situations. Was this even helpful? I don't know. My bad. How did you accept the fact that you were gay? So we touched a little bit on this earlier, but like I said, it was honestly really hard for me to come to accept that, but it was only hard because I felt like everybody knew before I did. And I don't know if this is just like the stubbornness in me, but I almost just didn't want to prove people right. And I felt like I suppressed so many of my emotions because of that. I didn't want everyone else to be right. I felt like everyone was just waiting for the day that I was going to finally come out and be like, I'm gay. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to prove them right. But the older I got and the more I realized that they were right, it was hard for me. I will say, it felt like I was just giving into what everybody was expecting of me. Not even that that's necessarily like a bad thing, but it's also like, I don't know. The moment I actually like fully realized that I was, because there was this guy that I was friends with, and I didn't even realize that I liked him at the time, but I always just remember I would get so being nervous around this dude, and I didn't know why. I always kind of just brushed it off as like I thought he was cool and I wanted to look cool in front of him. But he like wasn't a cool guy. Like he was literally just like a nerd. Not that there's anything wrong with nerds, love nerds, but it just didn't really make sense to me why I got so nervous around him all the time. And then when it clicked, I was like, oh, got it. I see. Okay. How do you kiss someone? Like, is it supposed to be natural or do you have to teach yourself? So when it comes to kissing, I feel like it is just a natural thing. I didn't practice before I did it for the first time. I also think it's just I don't even think about like when I'm kissing someone or like making out with someone, I'm not thinking like, oh my God, they're a really good kisser or they're a really bad kisser. Like I'm just kind of doing my thing. I also like, I don't even know how you would be I've kissed a couple bad kissers, but I don't know. I think it's just, you literally just press your lips together. I don't think it needs to be like a crazy like strategic thing. It's not going to feel natural the first couple times you do it because you're going to be like, what the is going on? Like, I don't understand. That's how I felt the first couple of times I did it. I was like, what is going on? Like, this feels so weird. Honestly, it still kind of feels weird to me, but I've gotten a little more used to it the more practice I've gotten. How do you know if someone is right for you? Honestly, if you're not having to question it, I think that's a good start. I personally don't know what that's like. I've never been with someone that I'm having to like question if they're right for me, but I would imagine like if you're not even like thinking about whether they're right for you, it's just it's an automatic yes. Like, yes, this person is right for me. Yes, this person is the one that I want to spend the rest of my life with. That's probably how you know. I don't have much experience with that because I'm always second guessing and always wondering things, but advice for middle school. God, I can't believe it's been like, 6 years since I've been in middle school. I remember literally doing like middle school vlogs and like YouTube videos. That's so crazy.
Start vlogging or something.
You're not going to want to hear this, but it unfortunately just is the truth. It's going to be very awkward. And there's honestly not much you can do to like, middle school is so weird because it's like you're growing up and you're all going through the like really awkward stage, but then I often feel like you're trying to be adults but you're not old enough to be an adult and you're not old enough to do adult things, and then there's all these people and you're trying to make friends and there's so much drama. Oh my God, middle school was so much drama. I guess the biggest piece of advice I would give you guys is, this is gonna sound so cliche, but honestly, like, it's just to be a kind person. I know that sounds so cliche and it sounds so stupid, but so many things happen in middle school and so many things honestly form your personality and form who you are as a person and the person you grow into be. Middle school was so weird and I was so confused. I was like hopping friend group to friend group, and then for a while I didn't have any friends, and then it was just a whole weird thing, and I felt like I was hopping friend group to friend group because I was trying to figure out like who I even wanted to be around, and most of the time I was like, I don't like being around you. I don't know what's going on here. And again, even then, like, kids are so mean in middle school. I don't understand why. I got bullied so much in middle school. It was so weird. But I felt the only thing that made me feel good and made me be able to sleep at night was the fact that I knew I was a good person and that I was actually trying to be a good person and a nice person and a kind person. If I didn't have that, I don't know, like, I probably would have been driven crazy because, again, kids were so mean to me and they said so many things about me and just had so many opinions and so many things that were just so wrong about me. But at the end of the day, like, I knew I was a good person. I knew I was a kind person. And even if there were kids that tried to make me feel otherwise, I knew deep down that that's who I was. And so that's why I say that that's just like the biggest thing that I recommend, because you are the only person who has to sit with yourself at the end of the day, at the end of the class day, when you go home and look in the mirror. Like, that's who you are. It's not the persona that you put on with your friends. Not saying that, you know, you're putting on a persona, but does that make sense? When was the last time you hooked up with someone? Is it hard after a breakup? Asking if it's hard after a breakup, I think is it's different for everybody. I think some people find it to be really difficult to jump back into doing stuff like that. And then other people, it's like a piece of cake and they're like, I just need this, honestly. Both of which are fine. For me, it wasn't necessarily difficult. It kind of threw me off just because I had been doing the same stuff with the same person for the last year, that doing anything, literally like even just so much as like kissing someone else just felt weird. But that was like the first time. After the first time, like, I felt fine. It's really hard for me to get that comfortable with somebody, and so I think that was like personally just one of the harder things, that when I was diving back into doing stuff with other people, I didn't know if I'd have that same comfortability. So yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, no, it wasn't hard, but it might be hard for you, and that's totally fine and that's totally okay. In terms of when the last time I hooked up with somebody was, like a week ago. Does it get better? Absolutely. I totally understand that when you're going through, this is kind of the same thing to do with the everything happens for a reason mentality, but I'm totally aware that when you're going through it, being told that it's gonna get better and that it does get better, you don't want to hear that. I totally get that. I've been in that situation, but I'm telling you from my personal experience, I promise you, I don't know when, and I don't know your life, and I don't know at what point things will start getting better for you. I hope soon. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, which feels so weird because I've been through so much the last couple months, especially with my history and like like all the things I've been through, I'm even surprised that I am where I am and feel the way that I do. And it feels fantastic. Please hold on to that. I promise you, like when you do get to a point where it does feel better, it's gonna feel so good. And I can't wait for you to feel that. Why did you and your ex break up? Because he cheated on me. You know what's so crazy though is I've never talked about this before, but we actually broke up like a week before I even found out he was cheating on me. It was like a mutual breakup, even though I was the one that started it. So I guess you could technically say like I broke up with him. But then a week later, I found out he was cheating on me. I wasn't even planning on moving out for like another month or two after the initial breakup. Like I honestly, there's a chance that I would have still been living up there right now had I not found out he was sending to other guys. So yeah. How hard is puberty? It's very hard, let me tell you. It's hard, it's awkward, it's embarrassing, it's all the things. This person didn't really ask for advice, but all I'm gonna say is honestly just surround yourself with people that don't make you feel bad about it. It's already an awkward experience as it is, and you don't need to make it worse and make it more awkward by having other friends or family members like shame you for what you're going through. So the final topic I'm gonna touch on here, how to not be awkward doing it for the first time. I hate saying this, but it's going to be awkward regardless of what happens. My biggest piece of advice is to be with someone and doing it with someone that makes you feel comfortable. It's already going to be an awkward experience doing it for the first time. It's going to feel unnatural. If you're like me, it might end up hurting. Actually, I think it hurts for a lot of people, but I feel like this wasn't very good advice because I'm like, yeah, well, it's going to be awkward. So don't try going into it so much with like, oh, I need to not make this awkward. Like I can't make this awkward for both of us. It's going to be awkward and there's not really a way to beat it. I mean, you don't know what you're doing. It's such a weird thing. Like if you really think about it, like this is so weird. It's so weird. Like why are we doing this? Like why is this going on? But it also like it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be stress relieving. Apparently, I think that's what it's supposed to do. It's not gonna be that way the first couple times you do it, but like everything else in the world, practice makes perfect. Please save practice. Be safe. Be smart. The first couple times I ever did anything was so awkward. You wouldn't believe. Unbelievably awkward. But now I honestly think it's fun. I think it's fun, and I don't know. I guess this is maybe a little TMI, but like 2 weeks ago, I was hooking up with someone, and I literally couldn't stop laughing. Like it was just so funny to me. I don't know why. I thought it was the funniest. He was laughing with me. Like it was a good time, and I don't know. I just thought it was the funniest. I was like, why the am I like making out with this dude for like 3 hours? Like this is so stupid. Like this, I don't know. It's supposed to be fun, and I'm thankful that I've kind of gotten out of the awkwardness of it, and I just think it's fun, and apparently it's funny to me too. So that is gonna bring us to the conclusion of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I know this is a very personal video, and I've never done a video like this. I've never opened up in this way, so I hope you appreciate it. I want my platform to just be a safe space, and there's no judgment here. I'm not gonna judge you, and I also want the comments to reflect that. You're able to talk about whatever you want, share as much as you want. Don't share anything if you're not comfortable with it. That's totally okay. I don't know. This was fun. So thanks for watching. I love you so much. I appreciate your support as always, and I'll see you in the next one.